Now you watch.
Really, really short.
Okay.
Really, really short.
You can go there. Go there.
You might want to go and give him a mic.
He does need a mic, doesn't he? That's true. I'll sit over here with you. Hello. I can share your notes as well. Hello everyone. Hello. So, what is polyamory? So we've got some notes. The traditional view of polyamory is this kind of heteronormative idea, this one penis per party kind of idea. The basic sort of basically you start off with a couple, and then there is someone that comes along, and then it's like, hey, let's do poly, and that didn't really work that way with us.
And I think one thing that sort of really starts things on poly, which is probably not the best way to start them, is you start off with a couple, and one of them gets a bit bored, and then rather than just kind of getting a mistress, just go, well actually no, I want to be poly, so why don't you be poly too? And then you sort of end up with one person desperately trapped in a happy relationship, and the other one going off living life with Riley. And that seems to be how some poly things start. And I think that sort of that sort of linkage sort of means that you get this sort of primary-secondary relationship.
Yeah, and you also get lots of rules. I mean, we've found some hilarious ones, like no fucking them in my bed on a Wednesday when I'm at poker, kind of. You can kiss her, but you can't kiss him, but you can fuck him, but you can't fuck her with our dildo. I'm just like, I couldn't keep track of it.
Or you can fuck her with that dildo, but you can't fuck it with our dildo. That kind of thing.
How do they colour code them? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Is there anything else you wanted to say about? It tends to be two female-identified people with breasts and one male-identified person with a penis in these poly relationships, especially the ones that make it into the magazines. You know, all the ones that are in the magazines, they have one bloke and one or two or many women, but not two blokes. Without a penis.
Because when I first heard about it, it sounded all very Californian. It's like, oh, let's get together with a couple of girls, and don't want any, more than one guy, because they're gonna have to like fight over who sticks that thing in there. There's some kind of like squaring up beforehand. So I have to confess, what I'd heard about it before I started doing it didn't really turn me on that much. And there's been a couple of things. I'm, obviously, The Ethical Slut is the book that everyone should read. They're starting out with poly. That does actually tell you a lot about the Californian way of doing things. In any case, it's a good start.
So shall we move on to the next slide?
I was going to say, this is the problem with having 3 people and 2 microphones, it doesn't really work very well. I was just going to say that in the media especially, a lot of poly relationships are shown as predominantly white, and also between the ages of about 20 and probably between the ages of 20 and 40. There are no old people doing poly, and there are no non-Caucasian people doing poly in the media, because it all has to be pretty and all that kind of thing, so which is really crap, to be totally honest. Whereas if I look around the room here, I'm sure I can see people who are in relationships who are all different colours of the rainbow, and definitely not white, which is wonderful.
And older too.
And
some of us are over 40 now.
Some of us are over 40, yes. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? So this is us. Welcome to the Truffle.
We're the Truffle. It's a trademarked name, and the patent is pending. And we thought everyone did it like this till we started doing more reading.
Okay, so basically, the Truffle is a made-up word to avoid the whole primary-secondary roles thing. And when we started researching this talk, we realised that secondary people in poly relationships seem to have it really bad. There's actually a secondary manifesto about being treated like a human being and this sort of thing, and they're actually treated like second-class citizens to the primary relationship. So we got rid of all of that and we just call ourselves the Truffle. So there's no
second-class citizen, Neil.
Absolutely not. If you tell me anything like that, I'll hit you.
Okay.
So should we move on to the next one?
And this is us. This was Jane's Christmas present to me and Neil. There was an artist that was at the Queer Fair called Octavian Star, and he did this for us. So that's us. So why it works for us?
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about is why it works for us and kind of how we make it work in crazy little ways. So the first, if we move on to the next slide. We kind of broke it into 4 things, and those of you who know the
Moulin Rouge, credo, we've nicked it basically. We've stolen it. So my one was to revel in my sexuality with pride. I always had an issue with fancying boys, fancying girls, just generally feeling free to be whoever the fuck I wanted to be and fuck whoever I wanted to. And this meant that to be poly meant that I didn't have to lie to myself or other people, and that there was complete honesty.
And for me, it was freedom to be myself. I am a misanthropic curmudgeon at heart. Underneath this jovial exterior is somebody who just wants to be at home in a cardigan listening to Radio 4 and drinking tea. Oh, and yelling at the person on the radio, disagreeing with them violently. But so that gives me the relationship has the freedom for me to be that person, as well as the sexy and other sorts of person, and not to have to live with people, because that's quite important for me.
And I think for me the most important thing was to be able to explore myself. And the thing with queerness, particularly gender queerness, is that there's quite a lot of yourself that you might be a particular month, day, hour. That can get quite complicated. And having the freedom within poly to go, well, actually, there's this bit of myself that I want to go off and explore, and it's not necessarily the way that I have a relationship with you, but I just want to kind of go off and actually learn more about myself. And as someone who's
Shall we mention you're now on Grindr?
no, we shall not mention that on Grindr.
Yeah, he's now available on Grindr if anyone wants to go look him up. We don't live together because we'd kill each other. As Jane said, she's a curmudgeon. I'm apparently very messy, and I'm creative, that's what it is. I'm sticking to that. And I don't know why you don't want to live with us.
Doesn't put things away rather than trying to giggle.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a quote from Mary Poppins, sorry. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So, this is all about basically us.
Have we skipped a slide?
Have we? I don't think we have. Oh, truth.
Yeah.
Have you got them around the wrong way, Jane?
No? Oh, yes, it's swapped around.
You've got them around the wrong way, okay.
Do you want to say the next?
We make notes and then it all goes fucking wrong. Brilliant.
because I got it wrong.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want to explain your bit of this?
Okay. The beauty...
It's great, isn't it? It's just seamless. It's amazing. Hello, YouTube.
Hello. The beauty thing is about being able to dress up and go out and be really queer and paint the town queer. I mean, we recently went to Subversion, the 3 of us.
Oh my god.
It was... I didn't know straight people were so dull when they fucked. I'm sorry.
So dull.
I'm sorry to all the guys who went to Subversion.
Sorry for the straight really people that are here, but wow, like, fuck, read a book, please. Like, Fet Life is there. Go and explore your sexuality. Like, if there is a male-bodied person in front of you and this is here, you don't just have to do that. Like, that's not the only bit of him. There are many, many bits to the body in both male and female, but they didn't get it. We were the star attraction because there's just this tiny, tiny bit of imagination, like not a whole show's worth, just a small, tiny smidgen, and yeah, wow.
I was
it was
so
an
looking
experience.
forward to it as well. It's like, I've never seen het people play before. Maybe it's not actually that bad. It's like, this is so... I never thought that shagging could be dull. They did it. They did it. It was extraordinary. Extraordinary.
It was like safari, actually. It was like going on safari where the lions don't turn up and the tigers have fucked off. So all the animals are asleep or it's a rainy day, that kind of thing. So yeah, so basically to explore together, to engage in all facets of sexuality. So between the three of us, there's so many different types and bits and bobs, as Neil was saying, like with Grindr and everything, and with me, well, with all of us, kink identified and things like that. So,
and switchiness and playing around with the dom, sub, master, well, whatever.
Sub, slave, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to
Top,
call it.
bottomy, toppy,
Yeah.
toppy from the bottom, bottoms from the top, bottoms, things, I don't know.
Neil, can you blow in her ear and fix her, please?
Sorry, she just got
She's
stuck.
malfunctioned.
We'll have an engineer out very soon, but everything will be fine.
Okay, are we ready for the next slide?
I think we are.
Can we have the next slide, please? They're all in different order now, so... Okay, so with truth. This kind of comes back to this traditional idea of poly and all these rules. We don't really have any rules. It's kind of developed quite organically. We have respect for each other, and we kind of deal with things on a like situation by situation basis. Yeah.
And I think the most important thing, if you sort of with successful poly, and what you see the big difference between that and sort of the stuff that you see that isn't quite so open, is that actually having a relationship not just with the other person that you're with that instant, but also engaging with the rest of the poly group. Is really, really important. It's not just about kind of like, hey, well, I do this thing with you and I do this thing with you, and then there's some things here, but actually looking at the whole system together and actually being honest about what you're doing with other people, and letting them into your life and you into theirs is
but
really,
it is
really
important to say that works for us.
Yes.
Because there are quite a lot of poly relationships that keep their lovers separate, and that totally works for them. But for us, it's worked that we kind of just put it all together and then see what comes out in the wash.
And I think one of the big important things that we've had over the years is we've all encouraged each other to support and grow from where we first were. So I'm very different from where I was when I met Maria, and we're both very different from where we were when we met Neil, and Neil's rather different from where he was when he met us.
Yeah.
And it's just allowing people to grow and to change, and being comfortable with the idea that the person you love today and help them grow might turn into a different person that you still love tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's very true, and what you were saying, you two are really, really different people from who you were when I first met you. But because we spend so much time together and we don't have separations between the three of us, and we're very, very honest with each other, then when things are on the horizon and there are troubles, there are problems, and when they are troubles. Maybe we should patent that as well, that would be good. But yeah, when things are on the horizon, then it means you've got two people to talk to rather than just like yourself or like your mates, I suppose. Should we have the next one?
Yeah, I think that leads nicely into the next one.
Can we have the next one? Love.
So this is all about, well, for me it's about loving somebody and not owning them. Like when I tried to do monogamy, people kind of, there was an ownership, kind of you're mine, I'm yours, where the just never felt right. And I can love people and not want to own them. And that's quite important for this. And it was just something that never worked for me when I tried monogamy, I think.
I just used to cheat on people. No, honestly, I did, and I thought that I was broken in some way because I just could not commit to a relationship, and I thought that something was wrong with me. And then I just realised that actually I don't have to, as long as I'm honest with people. And say I go to a place and I meet someone, then I'm just like, okay, so I have to explain the whole poly thing, even if it's going to be like a fleeting meeting, because I need someone to really understand who I am and where I'm coming from. And if they can deal with that, then that's great, and that's all good. But if not, then it's bye. It just won't happen. So.
Whereas my experience of monogamy was just terrifying. It's like, what? You mean you're not going to sleep with anyone else ever except for me? And I have to like be better than anyone else in the world? But what if you get bored? God, this is terrifying.
This was at the first kiss, wasn't it?
Yes! I'd like to plan ahead.
I think also it's completely obligation free. So we're together because we want to be together. We're not together because we're bound together by anything. Yes, we've had shared experiences and we care about each other very much, but there's no, like if Jane calls me up and says, I want to see you, or we see each other, then there's no obligation there. It's just because we want to see each other. And if we're having a bad day and we don't want to see each other, then that's totally fine. And it's not cause for like a massive row or anything like that, because there's no...
You never want to see me.
Huh? Because I never want to see you. That's not nice.
Being silly.
You're being silly. All right. No,
Sorry,
no little.
I'm too far back the other way.
No little. Okay. That's a completely different talk.
One of the other things I was going to say, it's actually fun going out to queer clubs and places like that and seeing somebody thinking, Maria would really like them, let's introduce them, they should go off and have a lot of fun. And I'm kind of like, everyone's like, how could you do that? And I'm like, well, I used to drive Maria to her lovers when we first met and rob her, make sure she got there safely, because I didn't want her wandering the streets of London at night.
Jane was a perfect gentleman when we first met, to my abject horror and annoyance. I thought that she was playing head games. She'd like come and kiss me goodnight, and we had this really long courtship, and I was running around to Ingo and a couple of other people who are like veteran whatever, going, what the fuck does this woman want? Why is she fucking me around? And really, she's actually one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my entire life. So, and with Neil, it was encouraging him to go off and do the things that he's doing now. But maybe 2 years ago, we were just going, join Grindr, go play with boys, do this, do that.
I'm a slow learner.
You are a slow learner. It's okay, you got it in the end. It's fine.
And yes, no, exactly. It's a very good thing you didn't, try staying in monogamous partnerships, because you are rubbish at hiding when people have been round. I'd always come over to yours and there'd be a bottle of Diet Coke on the floor, so I know who's been here.
Been seeing that woman.
And I think.
Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just going to talk to the last point.
Yeah.
About we are like a poly family, but we do have a queer family, and I think that's part of it, is that we embrace people, some of who've been flings, some of who've been lovers, some of who've been not quite sure, it didn't really work out, but we'll keep them as friends. That was really great, kind of thing. And you build this great group of people around you who are sometimes closer than your blood family, because it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And all the Antipodeans nod, and everyone else goes, what?
It's from a hair advert, it's from a shampoo advert. And when she suggested putting it in, she had to show us the YouTube video, and I was like, Jane, no one's going to get that. Anyway.
It's here. And there'll be people in New Zealand going, ha 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 ha.
Across the miles. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yucks across the miles. Can we have the last slide, please? Well, not the last one, but the next one. Is it perfect? Next slide. Most definitely not.
Can we have the next slide?
But it's better than anything else we've tried, so we think we'll stick with it. We're going to steal Ingo's format for a second, and we're going to ask ourselves, I think it's 2 questions. First of all, we're going to ask the jealousy question, because that's what everyone asks. So, Jane, Maria and Neil, is there jealousy amongst your relationship? Well, person that's asking. I don't think it's jealousy. I think there can be a feeling of feeling left out. because we're very, very close and we don't keep our relationships separate. I think when someone else comes in or we're interested in someone else, sometimes the other two, or however it works, can feel a little bit pushed to the side. But I don't think it's like full-blooded, I'm going to go punch that person, because, as I said earlier, because we're all kink identified, we're all into kink as well, it's very, very difficult to have that ownership feeling about somebody. So, yeah.
Unless you've collared them.
Unless you've collared them. Yeah. Do you want to?
And I think from my side, I mean, one of the biggest sort of things about poly that it is really set up to help you with is that jealousy and power, which are big problems in monogamous relationships. They're sort of something that if you do take it seriously, if you do understand why your lover is seeing somebody else, and if you're okay with that, then those two huge problems are really not that much of an issue. And I think also, you know, the thing about being open with your lover and actually, you know, them explaining to you, you know, what they're going out and doing, and, you know, coming back with some ideas, because the really nice thing about poly is just, you know, meeting up and then discovering what you've explored on your own, because you're not spending, you know, 100% of your time together, which is a really, really good thing.
There's nothing like the safari reports from going somewhere, or from hearing from Maria and Neil going out somewhere, or the two of us going out somewhere, and we have a tendency to tell all the gory details sometimes, which is...
I think that's the thing. If we actually decided tomorrow that we were going to shut it down and not be as honest, I don't think we could do it. I think it just wouldn't work anymore. You'd forget, yeah, and I just don't think it would work anymore.
No. Not to mention, it would be a shame to shut it down tomorrow and we do the talk right now.
Yeah. That would be awful.
So, yeah. So, Maria and Neil and Jane, is there a roster? Is there a rota? Do you sign up for days with each other? I don't know how else to ask the rota question. Is there like a quota that you have to meet or something?
No, I think we see each other when we want to see each other, and we kind of fit our time around each other. And I think if it became 4 instead of 3, then I think we'd be even more run off our feet than we already are.
Absolutely. I think, well, apart from Thursdays, of course, which is a very special event for both, that's very important. They have to go and have surf and turf, apparently.
I'm telling our secrets!
This is what, look, there's a camera right there! Everyone will know your secrets!
Surf and turf was a secret.
Anyway, should we open things up for any questions from the floor?
Yes.
Has anyone got any questions?
Have we honestly answered everything?
Wow.
Wow.
Hi, Teresa.
Well, first of all, I think that a lot of what you said would be really good advice for anyone in a monogamous relationship as well, especially what you said about ownership and stuff. So apart from being poly, I think it sounds like you guys actually just have a really healthy attitude to relationships, as well as, you know, being poly and stuff, which I was very impressed by. But what I wanted to know is, do you ever just get knackered? Because I would be so tired.
Yes. Some of us are old and just want to put on our cardigan and listen to Radio 4 with a cup of tea.
Sometimes I feel I could have more time playing Skyrim.
What do I say?
I think you now have all the time you need.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then that's the end of that then. Thank you very much for listening. No, I don't know. I think they've both been part of my life for so long that I don't really think about it. Like, you always need time to yourself, and I think I do get that in some ways, but the rest of my life is so crazy as well, it just kind of fits in. So if they both disappeared tomorrow, then I'd have long expanses of time to do nothing, and then probably wonder where these two fabulous people had gone. That would be really crap. Yeah. Anyone? Oh, hi.
Oh, hang on.
CJ, could you
Yes.
run that? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I like that.
Very good boy.
Well, I guess it's a sort of statement of my own experience rather than a question, but, you know, feedback about it would be quite interesting. Do you think that sort of social privilege dynamics can affect how you feel about another partner. For instance, I was with a bisexual woman, and I was queer and woman identified at the time, and they dated a upper middle class, in fact I think they were probably would say upper class, male, cis, white person, and that created a lot of problems. Do you think, does that not really figure into your relationship because you feel that, you know, everyone that you're with is queer and on the same level, or do you feel like sort of gender, race, social, class dynamics fit into how you feel about people who you're with or you hook up with or whatever?
I think I'll give this one to Maria.
Alright, I was just trying to follow everything that you were saying. I think what you're saying is class, social status, I'm trying to remember it all. Race and that kind of thing. Does it affect who we hook up with and the dynamic that we have in the relationship?
Yeah, like I think that even though the person I was with had the intention that we were all equal, that the feeling definitely wasn't equal because...
Okay, I think, alright, I have to kind of go back to the beginning before me and Jane met Neil, because there was a massive economic difference between me and Jane, and I think when we met Neil there was a massive economic difference between me and Neil, and Jane and Neil have always been more what's the word? Employed, yeah. No! Oh yeah, kind of. Yeah, alright, fine. Oh, I like being a full-time queer. But then now that's changed, now that's shifted, and now I'm at uni and blah 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 blah, so now we're kind of the same. And now these two are unemployed and I'm the breadwinner, which is hilarious, which is very, very scary. But I don't think it matters to me.
And I think on the kind of surface gender level, there's obviously a lot of things where you and Jane are easier places to go that I can't go to with you or with Jane. So obviously, you know, surface gender, the same things that affect all of us individually affect your relationships together, particularly if, you know, in a genderqueer relationship, you are kind of crossing those divides between, you know, dom and sub, top and bottom, male and female. And then obviously all those things that apply to us that we all see in everyday life, as far as gender is concerned, they apply equally in relationships. So it does have an effect, but only really in terms of the kind of things you do.
But you're common ground, you see. You've got common pieces, so that's alright. Very shit, doesn't matter.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think the only time it's ever made, well, I think there's only one place that I know of where we can go that you aren't quite so able to go, and that always has felt kind of a bit odd not to have you there.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of one of those things. But I know that when I've been out at work, people have quite understood me and Maria because it's fitted with my service identity and how people have read me, but they've never quite understood me and Neil because it doesn't fit with this. They say dyke and they go, man, does not. I know you're not. I said surface, like I'm a dyke. Please. I'm just camp. You know, so it's kind of it kind of plays up on those levels as well.
So you think it makes a difference that you're all on the same level as queer people,
Yep.
whereas there's not somebody who in the relationship has quite a lot of straight privilege or something like that?
I dream of heterosexual privilege occasionally. I think it would be lovely to try it out. Neil, maybe you and I could get married and try out this heterosexual privilege thing.
And I'll get ordained and then I'll marry you.
Perfect.
Any more questions?
I have a question.
Okay, hello.
And there's Joe Bunny as
Joe
well.
Bunny.
Oh, you don't need. Are you just going to shout? Okay.
Yeah. Do you have pets?
Fantastic. In what respect? No, really, in what respect? Hello. I had a puppy at the beginning, but he's no longer a puppy. I have a snake that lives at James, but he's an actual snake.
Because lesbians get cats after 3 years, and we somehow ended up with a corn. Well, I somehow ended up with a corn snake that belongs to Maria that lives in my house that I was terrified of for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Other pets?
Other pets? Any other pets?
You've got a doggy.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Labrador who lives with my dad, who I love very, very much. I can't have him in London.
But you were cuddling up to Dusty tonight, so I'm going to send like blackmail photos.
I told you I'm Polly. I can cuddle as many dogs as I like.
You want because you're Polly. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Hello. I didn't even have to stretch.
I just
Is it from
wanted.
Carol? Oh, I thought it was from Carol.
What?
I thought the question was from Carol.
No. I am in a poly relationship where the other partner actually lives in another town somewhere, and the agreement is that we're never in the same town together at the same time, knowingly, basically. Sometimes I may be up there and sometimes I may be in London, but we've never actually met and we've got no intention of meeting each other, and it seems to work like that. And I think the thing is, there's all different types of poly relationships going on, and you guys have got this fab arrangement here that you're sort of happy with most of the time. And you know, I've got an arrangement that we've made that we're happy with that one, and I know there's other ones, but I like the fact that you've also pointed out that this is the media portrays these images on the TV, and that there are hundreds and hundreds of different types of relationship. It's not just my relationship, your relationship, but there's hundreds of different types of relationship. And I think communication is really important, and yeah, it's about communication, and if you want to put rules in, put rules in, but thank you for doing tonight, because it's just brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I don't think ours is the only way to do poly, but it's the way that we've done, like we didn't know any other way, it just happened this way. I don't think we even meant for it to happen this way, it just did. I think that's about the best I can explain it.
Anyone else?